The Vedas are supposed to be the first book. They didn't have the benefit of hindsight. You could think of a little kid just opening his eyes. What's going on? Water, so marvelous. What's going on? No, do not judge them by their scientific rigor. They didn't have any labs, and science is accumulative. When the human consciousness was first beginning to look around, there was nothing it could lean upon, nothing it could turn back to benefit from. There were only questions. And it is that spirit of questioning, of inquiry, that ultimately rejects all suppositions and becomes the Upanishads. The glory of the Vedas, it lies in the fact that slowly they keep rejecting all their assumptions and are ultimately left with only the questions. And it does not stop there. They move beyond even the questions and enter the questioner. That's the subject matter of the Upanishads. Are listing the characteristics of the mind that is unlikely to resonate with and really understand the Gita. We said Shri Krishna is being cautious in advance here. Having seen that there is acute resistance within Arjuna when it comes to accepting the highest teaching, he is now going to take the route of explaining action rather than the actor. Now, this is already a suboptimal route. And even in this route, Krishna wants to be extra careful. So he is enumerating the telltale signs of the kind of person, ego, mind that are going to resist anything beyond the carnal self and the social norms. He talked of those who devote their entire internal apparatus to the ego. Alpa buddhi. The internal machinery, including the intellect, devoted to the ego. Those whose entire aim is to remain within limits. Limits provided by birth and by the society. Then he said, those who think of the highest literature as a recipe for desire fulfillment, those who look at the Vedas, Ved you could take as a collective term for the entire body of knowledge, more specifically, spiritual knowledge. So, those who look at the Vedas, even the Vedas, with a view to fulfill desires, these will again not be able to get what I am going to next tell you, Arjun. Because for you, even the highest spiritual word is just a means to your lowly desires. Even the highest to you is not higher than your desire. So even when you're looking at the Vedas, your entire aim is self-gratification. So you will miss out on the knowledge the self-knowledge part, and you will deliberately limit yourself to the hymns dedicated to appeasement of the gods of the natural forces, so that the wishes of the devotee can be granted. You'll be very comfortable with that part of the Vedas, and that is the Karmakand part, the mantra or the Samhita. That is not the Upanishad part. Indirectly, what Krishna is saying is that if to you the Vedas do not mean the Upanishads, then you will not understand the Gita. Because you see, purely in terms of volume, the Upanishads are not even 10% of the Vedic heft. If you count the number of mantras, the verses, 10% is just too much of an exaggeration. Less than 1%. For example, the Rig Veda is the most voluminous among the four Vedas. And from the Rig Veda, just one principal Upanishad comes. Just one principal Upanishad. And the Rig Veda is such a massive thing. The Aitareya Upanishad. Such a massive body of work. And just one little Upanishad in it. It is easy to miss the Upanishad, right? And it is easy to miss the Upanishad and still claim that you are a knower of the Veda, or that you have read the Veda, right? After all, if you have read 99% of some book, nothing forbids you from claiming that you have indeed read the entire book. right? So you could go to the Rig Veda, read everything but the Upanishad. And the the Upanishads, if you go to a copy of the Ved, the Upanishads often come as addendums. Not too many Upanishads are contained within the main body. Many of them, rather most of them, are in the form of something like an appendix, an attachment. Some of them come within the main body as well, no doubt. But so you can do away with the Upanishad, right? And comfortably say, I have just finished reading the Rig Veda. Shri Krishna is warning. Shri Krishna is saying, if to you the Ved means just the mantras dedicated to desire fulfillment, then the Gita is not for you, because the Gita is an Upanishad. It is just that it is formally not listed as an Upanishad because it is not a part of the Vedas. Formally, it is also not listed in the Shruti literature because it is a part of the Mahabharata. And Mahabharata is a work of human authorship. It is attributed to Ved Vyas. Otherwise, the Gita is very much an Upanishad. Which means that those who do not value the Upanishads themselves, how will they value the Gita? Because de facto, the Gita is an Upanishad. The Gita is so much of an Upanishad that when you talk of the three canonical pillars of Vedanta, after the Upanishads, you list the Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, the moment you say Vedanta, the first thing that comes to mind is Upanishads. Practically, Vedanta means Upanishads. That's true. But after that, there is the Bhagavad Gita. The commentators have said that the essence of the various Upanishads, the 11 primary ones, or the 108 in total, has been distilled into the body of the Gita. And then come the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras, which actually contain nothing new. They are just an attempt to systematize the entire message of the Upanishads. Because the Upanishads are numerous, therefore it is possible sometimes to get confused. Not only are they numerous, they were composed over various centuries and over a vast geographical expanse. It is very much possible that the authors, we do not use the word authors when it comes to the Upanishads. We say seers rather than authors. Mantra drishta. the one who saw the mantra. So these seers, I'm saying it's very much possible that they might have been totally disconnected to each other. Somebody is sitting in the western part of Aryavarth, Punjab, or what will be the Pakistan-Afghanistan border today. And somebody could have been composing the hymns, not composing, once again, seeing. Technically, you are at flaw if you say that the Upanishads were composed. That's a way of expressing reverence, saying that they are no ordinary works of human authorship, that they are the products of deepest kind of meditation. The normal mind cannot give birth to this kind of rare insights. So we withdraw human authorship from them. We want to say, no. They do not belong to our plane, our level. They come from somewhere else. That does not mean that they actually dropped from the skies. That only means that they are not products of the ordinary state of consciousness, the ordinary mind. So, Gita, even though it is contained in the Mahabharata, is a de facto Upanishad. And the Upanishads, even though they are a part of the body of Vedas, they differ greatly from what the Sanghita part of Vedas aims at. Are you getting it? So Gita comes from Mahabharata, but actually the Gita is way above the Mahabharata. And similarly, the Upanishads come from the Vedas, but they are in a dimension of their own. And therefore, if one has not made a pointed study of the Upanishads and just gone through the rest of the Vedic literature, one does not deserve to say that he knows Vedanta. Because there is very little in the rest of the Vedic literature that really resonates with the Upanishads. You could be a master of the mantras, of the Brahman part. You could have even gone through the Aranyaks. But that will not at all mean that you know anything about the Upanishads. The Upanishads are in a league of their own. So much so that some scholars have controversially claimed that the Upanishads are actually a rebellion against the Vedas. The Upanishadic part, the Vedantic part, is so different from the main body of the Vedas that some people have gone to the extent of claiming that the Upanishads are actually a rebellion against whatever the Vedas have said before the Upanishads. That the Upanishads are a great U-turn. I like to say the Upanishads are a great takeoff, not a U-turn. Like an airplane taking off. There is a great difference in dimension before taking off and after the takeoff. But there is also an organic relationship. The takeoff could not have happened without the taxiing. Okay. The Vedas have gone through an organic process. A long period of organic process. They were not composed in a day. Again, they were never. I stand the risk of being declared guilty on this count. It was a long process, very long process. You would not be wrong if you say more than 1,000 years. Just imagine one particular work that is slowly being assembled over a period of 1,000 years. Right? And obviously, they are not dropping from the sky. We are not getting into that kind of stupidity here. It's an organic growth, like a tree growing from the earth, not like a revealed book dropping from the sky. So they start from one place. The very first hymn is dedicated to Agni, Rigved. Please. Everything begins with please. With folded hands, you are saying, just a little request, a bit of a favor. Give me that. Do not give me that. All the bad things you give to those people in the other village. They are my enemies. Those guys over there are celebrating too much. Can we have a teeny weeny drought, please? On that side of the fence? And a lot of people think that this is what the Vedic literature is about. The method was yajna. And there were so many deities that had to be pleased, ingratiated. It was not through temples. It was through the process of yajna. So there would be Vedic priests. And there was such a great importance on sound. Because the entire worship was just through words. Nothing had been erected. And you really didn't have to go anywhere to do much. Morning, afternoon, evening. The method was just yajna. And in course of time, it became corrupted also. We know of that. Animal sacrifice became such an important part of this thing that the entire religion of Buddha and Mahavir had to be based on ahimsa. It was actually a rebellion against yajna. Because the whole concept of yajna was, if you do this, your desires will be fulfilled. Buddha came up with the Shaman philosophy. He said, nothing doing. First of all, your desires are rubbish. Secondly, no desire ever gets fulfilled by making offerings to gods. And even if somehow, coincidentally, your desires do get fulfilled, you must see that your desires are not worth fulfilling. So the entire Vedic thing was about fulfillment of desire. And Gautam Buddha came up with something so ingenuous, absolutely new. Not absolutely new, because what he was saying, the Upanishads were already saying that, but no one was listening to the Upanishads. You get a proof here in the Gita, right? Krishna is saying, Arjun, if you're like those people who think of Vedas as Vedas sans Upanishads, then you will not get the Gita. So we get an idea that there was definitely this trend in popular religious culture that people go to the Vedas just for the sake of the karma part, the desire fulfillment part. And people were not paying much attention to the Upanishads. So the entire game had become about desire. And Buddha just put the whole thing aside. He said, your central problem is suffering, and suffering itself comes from desire. Tremendous departure from whatever was happening till then. He said, whatever you are doing in the name of religion is just to satisfy your desire. And desire itself is at the root of your suffering, which means your religion has become your accomplice in the game of your suffering. You understand the context? Therefore, you are seeing that the Bhagavad Gita is de facto criticizing the Vedas. And when you will come to the next verse, you will be astounded. Shri Krishna tells Arjun, Nistragunyo bhava Arjun. And before he says this, he says, you know, your Vedas are just about the three gunas, and therefore you must be free of the three gunas. He is de facto telling Arjun to be free of the Vedas. The exact words are, Tragunya Vishaya Veda Nistragunyo bhava Arjun. He's saying the Vishay, the subject matter of the Vedas is nothing but the three gunas. You know what the three gunas are. Prakriti, this entire world, Maya. He said your Vedic literature is dealing only with this. And therefore you must get rid of all that. Pay attention. These are lines of absolute rebellion. Tragunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas are dealing only with that which is found in the three gunas. Three gunas belong to Prakriti, Sankhya Yoga. It says all that is there in the Vedas is dealing with only this material world. And you must get rid of that. Nistragunyo bhava Arjun. You drop that. You drop what is contained in the Vedas. Obviously, he is not telling Arjun to drop the Upanishads. He is telling Arjun to drop that part of Vedas that had become almost exclusively popular with the priests and the population. Because people, being people, they were least concerned with the knowledge part. They were only concerned with the desire part. We do not want knowledge. We have desires and we want to use the Vedas to fulfill our desires. So the criticism is less towards the Vedas and more towards those who are interpreting the Vedas. More towards those who are coming to the Vedas and reading the Vedas. They are being criticized. Hmm? Because the Vedas are not to be criticized, they also contain the Vedant, right? And that's their lasting contribution, that's their immortal contribution. So, how can you say the Vedas are rubbish? If there is even just one Upanishad that is there in the Rig Veda, that makes the Rig Veda worth it. I'm assuming you are giving zero importance to everything except the Upanishad. Even if you give zero importance to everything except the Upanishad makes the Rig Veda worth it. So obviously Shri Krishna is not going to criticize the Ved per se, the totality of the Ved itself. He is criticizing the kind of mind that approaches even the highest scripture just to fulfill its own desire. Even today, it might be possible, many of you might be listening to this discussion tonight just because you have a concept that Gita brings auspiciousness, and auspiciousness in popular parlance means nothing but prosperity. In the popular parlance, you say Shubhalabh. You see what you club with Shubhta. So auspiciousness means prosperity. Many of you might be doing that, albeit subconsciously. Grant that. Do listen to the Durga Sapshati during the Navaratri. That will bring richness home. Devi will shower goodies. Sri Krishna is saying there is nothing for this kind of a mind. No liberation, no realization, nothing. Are you getting it? The Vedic literature is a wonder. You start from a very, very relatable, very common, very ordinary point where you are just looking at the world with eyes full of awe and wonderment, and you don't know what to make of it. Everything appears mysterious. Even the ordinary forces of nature appear mysterious. We are talking of the earliest awakening of the human consciousness. There was no inherited knowledge the seers could benefit from, right? The Vedas are supposed to be the first book. They didn't have the benefit of hindsight. You could think of a little kid just opening his eyes. What's going on? What's going on? Water, so marvelous. And that spirit of awe, of amazement, shines through, especially the Rig Veda, again and again. What's going on? Now, do not judge them by their scientific rigor. They didn't have any labs, and science is accumulative. Today, if you know that G is 9.8 meter per second square, it's not because you found that out. It's because that figure has come to you over centuries of research of other glorious beings. When the human consciousness was first beginning to look around, There was nothing it could lean upon, nothing it could turn back to benefit from. There were only questions. Questions and a lot of suppositions, a lot of speculations. But not just speculations, deep questions also. Hmm? And it is that spirit of questioning, of inquiry, that ultimately rejects all suppositions and becomes the Upanishads. And that's very normal. You can identify with that. When you are at a place you know nothing of, you will have two things, right? One, assumptions, and second, questions. The glory of the Vedas, it lies in the fact that slowly they keep rejecting all their assumptions and are ultimately left with only the questions. And it does not stop there. They move beyond even the questions and enter the questioner. That's the subject matter of the Upanishads. So you begin with fire worship and sky worship and sun worship and such things, all forces of Prakriti. And then you move to a point where you say, no, no, no. Prakriti is just Prakriti, let her be. You remain a detached, dispassionate seer, the witness. The same spirit that you find here, Nistragunyo Bhava Arjun. So you start from a point of view of extreme attachment to Prakriti. Again and again you are going to forces of Prakriti. You are going to water, you are going even to the thunderbolt. You are going to the trees. Oh, the trees, they are something special. You are going to the soil, the wind. You are going to them. Oh, they are special, they are special, they are special. And then over the journey, the 1,000-year long journey, you slowly say, no, no, no. All this is just Prakriti. And let her be. Let her do her own thing. I am myself. Nistragundyo. This is where the glory of the Vedic literature lies. It dismantles itself. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. And there is something in it for everyone. If you are someone who cannot cope with the rigorous austerity of the Upanishads, then there is the regular kind of worship for you. You could choose. You like energy and power and heat and radiance and effulgence. Surya. You could pick Surya as your favorite deity. You like the calm song of flowing water. Then there is Varun for you. You could choose. It would obviously be not the best choice. The best choice is when Ved starts sounding Vedant to you. When somebody says Ved and you hear Vedant, that's the best thing. But if you are still not up to it, there are other things for you. But Krishna is categorical. He is saying, Arjun, if there are other things for you, then neither the Upanishads nor the Gita is for you. Because we are not here to fulfill our desires. Hmm? You must reflect on this. For the ordinary man, religion is just a means to fulfill desire. And desires are an expression exactly of the one who suffers inside, right? Because the ego feels that it is incomplete, therefore it desires. Incompleteness and desire obviously go together. The more you place your trust on desires, the more you are powering your feeling of incompleteness. Therefore, desire fulfillment is the worst way if you want to treat your insides. Won't help. Looks intuitive. Some might even say looks very logical, I'm not feeling well. Let me order something. Let me chat somebody. Let me do this. Let me do that. Something. Sounds intuitive because our intuition is tied to our experience and these senses, They will immediately suggest, yes, not feeling nice today. Order something online. Won't work. And that's something you need to be cautious of today. And that's something you needed to be cautious of then. Getting it? Because our external situations have changed. Internally, we have not evolved. We make the same mistakes. Externally, yes, because knowledge is accumulative. So over the centuries, we have accumulated knowledge. Capital too is accumulative, is it not? You keep accumulating capital and you can pass it on to the next generation. Knowledge you can pass on. So these two things we have in abundance today. Knowledge and capital. But internally, we are as deprived as we were then. We are making the same mistakes that we made then. Getting? Right. Arjun, if you are one of those who nourish a mind that there is nothing more important than the deeds that lead you to heaven, then let's stop right now, because that's not what the Gita will give you. Deeds referring to the rituals, the rites. Do this and you will be guaranteed place in heaven. No, Gita is not for that. And that will not help assuage your current inner condition. You are in turmoil. Talks of heaven and hell and pious deeds will not help you. Similarly, if you are one of those who are always full of desires, then again I am not going to speak to you any further. Because your mind will be busy calculating how to fulfill the desire. And I'll be just wasting myself on you. Whatever I say, either you will not listen to it or you will grab some portion of it, hoping that from that portion somehow you can fulfill your desire. Those who consider attainment of heaven as the ultimate thing, this is being repeated. Swarg. Shri Krishna is quite upset with such people. Quite upset with such people who think that after your death, something pops out of your body or sneaks out or whatever, or oozes out. There are diverse expressions of mental ineptitude, Human vocabulary is too little to contain the entire range of our insane imaginations. There have been long-winded and very detailed debates. Somebody said it comes out of your nostrils with your last breath. Somebody said, no. It comes out of the entire body through the skin pores. Somebody said, no, it is like the light in the eye. So when you close your eyes finally, then it comes out from the eyes. Facts cannot be numerous, but imaginations, infinitely numerous. Historically, there even have been experiments. One king made a total leak-proof room for himself with whatever technology that was available. He said not even a single molecule of air should be able to breach out. He said, now my soul will remain in the room. And he trusted his eldest son. He said, after they say that I have died, first of all, you remain by my bedside. And after they say that I have died, you catch hold of my soul and put it back in. And the soul, I tell you, is a sneaky thing. It can slip away even from the minutest holes. So make sure that nothing remains. And I can only imagine, I too am entitled to imagine, am I not? And I can only imagine what kind of endeavor would have gone into ensuring that the room is absolutely foolproof, leak-proof. They must have filled it up with water and seen if even one drop is coming out from somewhere. And I'm pretty sure that the king died of asphyxiation. Because if nothing can come in and nothing can go out, then obviously you will suffocate. Krishna looks almost upset with such people. And the irony, which I could also call as the tyranny of the common mind, is that we have used the Gita to justify the concept of the soul and heaven and hell. And here Sri Krishna is saying, if you think of these things, then let's stop right here. The Gita is not for you. Getting it? Those who are attached to the ritualistic actions that give pleasure and prosperity, if you are one of them, Arjun, we can't be together. Shri Krishna is criticizing everything that happens in the name of religion even today. Sounds so contemporary, does it not? As if it is being addressed to one of us here in the 21st century, to each one of us here. Arjun, if you are one of those who give importance to the rituals and traditions and such things that are supposed to give happiness and prosperity, then the Gita is not for you. Essentially, if you follow the prevalent kind of religion, then the Gita is not for you. Gita does not belong to the kind of religion that shadows popular culture. Gita is exquisite and exclusive. You can either follow popular culture or Gita. And that puts paid to any idea that Gita can be a part of popular culture. It's an either or relationship. Either you can belong to the world of popular religion or you can listen to Shri Krishna. You cannot have both. Either you can participate in the norms, mores, traditions, rituals that are branded as religion, or you can be a lover, a worshipper, a follower of Gita. You cannot be both. So Sri Krishna, you see the kind of effort he is presenting Arjuna with an entire list. He is saying this, 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 this. And Arjuna, now, if you tick any of these boxes, then I will abandon you. Forget about you running away from the chariot and all those things. You are proving to be such a lousy student. As a teacher, I am telling you, I'll drop you. Arjuna, the tables have turned. Just one chapter back, Sir, just, I was saying I want to run away. And you were saying, wait. Can we have a word? And now you are telling the Gita is not for you if this, if this, if this, if this. Already you have listed 7 conditions. And the fact of the matter is, I meet all 7 of them. And you know that very well. And I also know that you will never drop me, in spite of knowing fully well how unqualified I am. You very well know that I am exactly the person who does not deserve the Gita. Nobody deserves the Gita. In some sense, it is always a gift, a thing of grace. And Shri Krishna is making it very clear that you do not deserve the Gita. If you are running after your desires, if you believe in heaven and hell and soul, if you come to a holy book in order to ingratiate yourself, then the Gita is not for you. That practically rules everybody out, does it not? If these conditions are to be enforced, only Shri Krishna will qualify to read the Gita. Everybody else stands disqualified. So Krishna, look at the compassion here. He is making it very clear that I know that you do not deserve me. Arjuna, I know that you are the most deserving among the Kauravas and the Pandavas, and still you do not deserve me. In one sense, Arjuna is the most deserving one. In a relative sense, relative to the others present there, Arjuna is the most deserving candidate. But in an absolute sense, Arjuna is not deserving at all. And Krishna makes it clear. These are the conditions. Do you meet these conditions? Arjuna, sir, look at me. Do I look like making the cut? No, I don't. And Krishna is just warning, not threatening really. He knows very well nobody makes the cut. And still he will deliver the sermon. Are you getting it? Hundreds, more than 500, I suppose, verses are still to come. And mind you, these verses come to us in a form that has been systematized again by the great systematizer, Vedvyas. It is very possible that the actual conversation was far more detailed and long-winded. There were far too many more to's and fro's. When two people in real life converse, the conversation is not always as neat as this, or is it? Do you talk to each other in verses? Especially when you are talking to someone hallucinating with grief. Do you deliver axioms and canons to him? Do you? But it's quite possible that the whole conversation happened over maybe days and weeks. Who knows? We will never know. Look at the kind of effort that has been put. And that kind of effort has been put knowing fully well that Arjuna is as unfit as anybody else. Arjuna is a better candidate only in relative sense. In an absolute sense, Arjuna is as unfit as any. And yet the effort. And Shri Krishna is not even hiding it. He is saying, I fully well know. I know you. He's listing in such detail. This disqualifies you. This again disqualifies you. This again disqualifies you. So you are disqualified on not one but 8 counts. And now we come to the next verse. I'll continue to educate you. Getting it? Those who make strong and pleasant arguments in support of their views, these are again not the persons the Gita should be said to. Basically, these are the people who are attached to their own views. And in defense of their views, they put forward pleasant words, exciting arguments. But behind all those words, etc., lies just the stubborn insistence of the ego. I will preserve myself. Now, if you are one of those, Arjun, then we should not talk. Like one deals with a kid, you see. If you do this again, I'll hand you over to the police. You know, the 4-year-old. And he's like, I'll be handed over to the police. Yes. He will never be handed over to the police. If you repeat this, I'll hang you out there to dry. The kid is never going to be hung up there to dry. Getting it? The minds of those who are attached to pleasures and prosperity get bewildered. Basically, he's saying you get mad. If you are someone who runs after pleasure, happiness, etc., then you simply become insane. You will not even know what is happening to you. And you'll just keep wondering, why did this happen? How did this happen? But I didn't want this to happen. How did this happen? The reason is that you give so much importance to pleasure. And that's a choice. Somewhere you are still holding on to that hope. I can have both. Liberation and ingratiation. Can't I have both? The ego is greedy, you see. Can't I be liberated while enjoying the fruits of bondage? The mind gets bewildered. Once the mind gets bewildered, how will you understand the Gita? And then you wonder, minus 2.2%? What kind of performance is this? I listened to the session 3 times. You listen to the session just 3 times. You are listening to yourself 3,000 times per day. The entire sermon is in negativa. First of all, you stop doing this, that, and that. You still go to your favorite deities every morning and ask for your favorite things. And then in the night, sometimes, occasionally, accidentally, out of sheer misfortune, you listen to the Gita. And then you hope that you will top the exam. Will that happen? This is the one mistake each of you is making. You want to somehow reconcile Gita with the existing structure of your beliefs. You want to force fit Gita. You don't want to dismantle your existing structure. You have your little sand castle and you want to park the bulldozer of Gita within that sand castle. How big is your sand castle? Firstly, it is of sand. And secondly, how big is it? This big. Because you are 3-year-old. And Gita is like a bulldozer. What is the registration number? NETI 0000. It raises everything down. Neti, shunya, 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 shunya. Nothing remains. Just 3 are sufficient. Only 3 gunas in Prakriti. The bulldozer of Gita. Number plate? Neti 000. And very happily, such sweet ignorance. You are saying, bring the bulldozer. I will park it in my existing paradigm. How will the Gita fit in? How? It's like trying to fit an elephant into an ant's house. Even that might be possible, but it is not possible to reconcile Gita with the belief system you have, with the religious system you have, with the life system you have. You don't want to change that, and you still want to benefit from the Gita. That cannot happen. It's an either or thing, mind you. Shri Krishna himself is saying that. What can I do? And he looks a bit upset. He's saying, if you don't meet the criteria, then go away. Just that when you will go away, he'll run behind you and by hook or crook, he will, you come here, sit. You think you're so smart, you will run away. You will go away only when I kick you away. The definite knowledge of the self is not for such people. So these 6 or 8 kinds of people, and he's saying, and there is this beautiful word that comes here, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Not the kind of intellect that meanders. Definite intellect. Intellect that is devoted to the definite is not for these kind of people. Don't bring your self, your beliefs, your desires to the Gita. I repeat, they are incompatible. It sounds commonsensical, I'm a Hindu. I follow the Hindu religious path, the common lok dharma. Religion as it is widely practiced by the commoners. I do all that. And Gita too belongs to the Hindu fold. Therefore, there will be some congruence. There will be no congruence. There is no compatibility. It's not that if you are a Muslim or a Christian, then the Gita is not for you. Be ready for the shocker. The Gita is not even for the common Hindu. Anybody who believes in a particular line of thought, of idea, of bias, becomes unfit for Gita. Does not matter whether he is a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddhist or a Jain or a Hindu. You are rooted in the Islamic theology, obviously the words of Krishna will not make sense to you. Similarly, if you are rooted in the Hindu theology, the words of Krishna will not make sense to you. Because Gita is not theology, Gita is philosophy. Gita is not belief system. Does not matter where the belief system is coming from. The belief system could come from Africa, it could come from the Middle East, it could come from China, or it could come from India. How does it matter? A belief system is a belief system. Those who are wedded to their belief systems become unfit for the Gita.
There is Kesar Bhatt from Jammu. He is asking, Acharyaji, how can one refer to Vedas without desire? When ego's actions inherently stem from desire.
No, you can go to the Vedas with desire. Very well said. Obviously, if you are a patient, you will go to the doctor with the disease. But you cannot go to the doctor with the intent to keep the disease. You are not being told, become healthy, become totally fit, and only then approach the doctor. That would be stupid to say, right? What you are being told is, you cannot be attached to your disease while going to the doctor. Attachment, in fact, is a small word. We are identified with our disease. We are our disease. Who am I? I am my own disease. And with this mind, when I go to the doctor will fail on me. In fact, the doctor will look and sound so much like an enemy. So carry the disease, because you are helpless in that regard. You are the sick person. So obviously you will go to the doctor and the disease is there. But at least be ready to make the right choice. Intent matters, no? When you say, how can I drop desire? Why can't you have the desire to be free of disease? Yes, you must have desire. But if you must desire, then why not desire to be free of your disease?